The Tirak fleet moved slowly through the outer edge of Orion sector. Their ships were large and dark, shaped like sharp knives in space. Admiral Kor watched the stars from his bridge, his long fingers tapping on the control panel. He felt confident. He had led fleets before, and every time the result had been the same: victory. He believed this would be easy. Another species would fall before the might of the Tirak Empire, just as others had before. "We are approaching the edge of human space," one of his officers said. His voice was calm, almost too calm, but Kor didn't care. "Sensors show no signs of colonies. No signs of ships. Space appears clear." Kor leaned back in his chair, smiling. "Perfect," he said. "Silence is weakness. Prepare to advance. We will take whatever is here and leave nothing for them." The fleet moved as one, 50 ships cutting through the darkness. The Tirak were methodical. They always were. Every move, every attack, every maneuver had been practiced hundreds of times in simulation. They believed in control, in precision. They did not expect surprises because they never allowed surprises to happen. Far away, hidden among asteroids and clouds of cosmic dust, human eyes were watching. Captain Laura Kent stood on the bridge of the ship Resolute, a human stealth cruiser built for observation and speed. She did not panic. She had seen the reports, seen the simulations, and she understood the Tirak. They were confident but overconfident. That was their weakness. "Captain," a young officer said, "I am detecting an unknown fleet. Very large. They are moving slowly like they expect no resistance." Laura nodded. She did not speak in haste. "Central Command has been informed," she said calmly. "We watch, we wait. Let them make their mistakes." The Tirak fleet crossed into what they thought was empty space. Kor's voice carried over the bridge. "Open communication channels. We will welcome them. Tell them humans are weak. Tell them they can surrender without bloodshed." A communications officer hesitated. "Admiral, should we—" "Do it," Kor snapped. "Show them our mercy." The message sent, Kor leaned back. He did not notice the faint flicker on the sensors of Resolute. The human ship had already begun analyzing every Tirak ship, every weapon signature, every movement. Humans did not rush. Humans did not panic. Humans had survived worse, and they had learned from it. In the command center of the human orbital station Vigil, Admiral Carter Hale reviewed the same reports. His hair was gray at the temples, his face lined with experience. He did not shout, he did not panic. He had seen empires rise and fall, and he knew one thing clearly: patience was more powerful than strength when used correctly. "They are here," Laura said softly over the comms. "They believe we are weak," Carter nodded. "Good, let them believe that. Watch them. Study them. Their arrogance will be their downfall." On the Tirak flagship, Kor laughed as the message returned from human space. No answer. The humans had not even replied. To the Tirak, silence was a sign of fear, and fear could be exploited. "Prepare landing ships," Kor ordered. "We will show them the power of the Tirak Empire." The landing ships were loaded with weapons, soldiers trained in conquest, and supplies for what Kor expected to be a short occupation. They moved toward the nearest human colony, a planet called Arden. On sensors, the planet appeared quiet. Cities were empty, lights dim. Kor's smile widened. Another victory would soon be his. Hidden in orbit around Arden, Laura's ship remained invisible. The Resolute had cloaking systems that could hide it from even the most advanced sensors. Human engineers had spent decades perfecting them. The Tirak would not see it coming. Eli Grant, a young officer on the Resolute, looked at Laura nervously. "Captain, why don't we attack now? We could strike before they land." Laura shook her head. "Because humans don't fight the same fight twice," she said. "If we attack too soon, they will learn from us. We wait. Let them make the first mistake." Eli frowned but did not argue. He had been trained to follow orders, and he trusted Laura. She had commanded ships for many years, and she had never been wrong. Back on the Tirak flagship, Kor's fleet prepared for landing. The first ships entered Arden's atmosphere, expecting no resistance. What they found were empty cities, quiet streets, and abandoned vehicles. No humans appeared. It was as they expected: weak, empty, ready for occupation. Kor allowed himself a small laugh. "They hide like children," he said. "Prepare the troops, move in. Take the planet." The first landing party touched the surface. The soldiers moved carefully, scanning every building. There was no sign of life. No traps, no resistance. For the Tirak, this was proof of victory before the battle had begun. But hidden deep under the cities, humans were not idle. Drones silently monitored every Tirak movement, feeding data back to the Resolute and to the command networks on Vigil. Humans had built systems that could learn and adapt faster than any Tirak computer. They studied the enemy, noted every strategy, every formation, every mistake. On the bridge of the Resolute, Laura watched the live feed from the drones. She did not smile, did not shout. She simply observed. "They believe this is easy," she said softly. "Let them believe it." In the Tirak landing zone, the soldiers were beginning to explore. They found supplies, food stores, and empty buildings. There were even vehicles they could use. Their confidence grew. "The humans are weak," said one officer. "They will surrender quickly." Kor's voice crackled over the comms. "Secure the area. Report back immediately. Show no mercy. This is our Empire's first victory in human space." But the humans had been preparing for this moment for decades. Every abandoned colony, every silent city, every empty street was a trap. They were not waiting to fight as the Tirak expected. They were waiting to learn, to adapt, and to strike in ways the Tirak could not imagine. Eli leaned closer to Laura. "Captain, they are moving faster than we thought. Their landing parties are spreading quickly." Laura nodded. "Yes, but speed does not mean advantage. Watch, learn. Their mistakes will be clear soon." Back on Arden, the first small encounters began. Tirak soldiers patrolled streets, checking every building. They did not notice the hidden sensors under the ground, the automated turrets ready to activate if necessary, the small mines disguised as rubble. All of it was part of a plan the Tirak could not see. Kor's confidence remained. "We are unstoppable," he said. "No species can stand against the Tirak." But in the silence of the orbiting Resolute, Laura and her crew had already begun the first countermeasures. Small disruptions in communications, fake signals, decoy readings, all designed to confuse the Tirak and make them reveal patterns in their behavior. The humans did not act violently, not yet. They watched, they waited, and they learned. Carter Hale reviewed the reports. "They are predictable," he said to himself. "They will make the same moves they have always made." Every empire before them did the same. He turned to the officer next to him. "Prepare the adaptive networks. Prepare to strike, but not yet. Let them come closer. Let them believe victory is theirs." On the surface, Tirak soldiers found nothing. They reported back expecting praise. Instead, Kor's orders grew more confident. He demanded speed, efficiency, domination. He did not understand that the humans did not need speed. They needed precision, patience, and memory. Humans never repeated the same mistake twice. Eli watched the sensors closely. "Captain, their ships are scanning the planet now. They will find the drones soon." Laura nodded. Let them see the drones. Let them believe they have found us." They will not understand what they see. They will not understand the plan. The Tirak fleet continued to move through human space, unaware that every signal, every weapon test, every patrol was being analyzed. Every piece of data was stored, studied, and understood. By the time the Tirak realized their mistake, it would be too late. Kor's arrogance was complete. "No one can fight like the Tirak," he said aloud. "No one can resist our empire. We are the greatest force in the sector." Laura and Eli did not respond. They simply continued watching, taking notes, and waiting. They had learned this tactic long ago. Let the enemy reveal themselves, then act with precision. Humans did not repeat themselves. They adapted. They evolved. And in the end, that would be the Tirak's undoing. In the silent orbit of Arden, the first sparks of preparation began. Humans prepared not to defend but to teach a lesson. They would not attack in the same way, fire in the same patterns, or fight the same battle the Tirak expected. Every move had been planned to be unpredictable. Every reaction would be different. And far away in the darkness of space, Admiral Kor smiled, confident in the ease of his conquest. He did not yet know that crossing into human space was a mistake that the Tirak Empire would remember forever. For the humans of Arden, and of all human space, this was just the beginning. The Tirak fleet continued its slow advance deeper into human space. They believed they were walking into empty territory, a land to conquer without resistance. Admiral Kor's confidence remained unshaken. He believed in the power of the Tirak Empire, in their superior weapons, their disciplined soldiers, and their ability to dominate any species that lacked experience. Meanwhile, humans watched. On the orbiting station Vigil, Admiral Carter Hale reviewed incoming reports. The Tirac ships had crossed into human space and they were spreading across the outer colonies. Every movement was noted, every signal intercepted. Human AI systems analyzed the Tirac fleet in real time. They recorded patterns, studied formation changes, calculated weapon ranges, and measured reaction times. "Captain Laura Kent," Hale said, speaking into the communicator. "What are your observations?" Laura's voice was calm even under pressure. "They are confident. They believe we are weak. They move like all the other empires we have faced before. They will make mistakes soon if they have not already." Carter nodded. "Good. Keep the Resolute hidden. Continue surveillance. We do not strike first, not yet. Let them reveal themselves fully. Let them show how they fight. That is how we will win." Laura glanced at her young officer, Eli Grant. "Do you understand?" she asked. Eli nodded. "We wait, we study, and we adapt. Every move they make, we learn." "Exactly," Laura said. "And we never do the same thing twice. Humans never repeat their mistakes." On Arden, the Tirac soldiers continued their patrols. They moved through the abandoned cities, confident that the humans had fled. They explored the streets, checked the buildings, and found supplies that were left as bait. Their reports to Admiral Kor were filled with confidence. They had found no resistance, no traps, no signs of real danger. Kor's laughter echoed through the bridge of his flagship. "This is what I expected," he said. "No challenge, no delay. They will surrender and our empire will claim human space before they even know what has happened." But the humans were not idle. Under the cities, drones moved silently. They monitored every Tirac soldier. They recorded every step, every scan, every communication. These drones were part of a larger network that connected human stations, ships, and satellites. Every piece of data flowed into a central system, a network that could analyze, adapt, and prepare new strategies in minutes. Eli watched the data stream on the Resolute. "Captain, they are moving faster than expected. Their scouts are entering new sectors. We need to update the countermeasures." Laura nodded. "Do it, but do not act too soon. Let them reveal everything. Patience is our weapon." On the Tirac flagship, Admiral Kor's confidence grew. He did not know that every step he took was being studied. Every formation, every weapon test, every signal sent into space was recorded by humans. Every move he made would be turned against him, because humans learned from their past. They never repeated themselves. Kor's communications officer reported, "Admiral, the colonies appear empty. There is no resistance. Shall we prepare for landing?" "Yes," Kor said. "We take the planet. Move the troops. Begin deployment immediately. Let them see the power of the Tirac Empire." The first landing ships entered Arden's atmosphere. Soldiers marched through the empty cities, confident in their victory. They did not notice the small signs of human preparation: hidden turrets, automated mines disguised as rubble, and sensors that monitored every movement. In orbit, the Resolute sent out decoy signals. Small transmissions made it seem as if human ships were scattered across the planet. The Tirac sensors detected them and believed they had located hidden resistance. Kor's confidence remained. "Foolish humans," he muttered. "They hide, but they cannot hide from us forever." On the human station, Hale studied the Tirac fleet carefully. "They move like all empires before them," he said. "They are predictable in their arrogance. We will not fight like them. We will fight differently every time. They do not know it yet, but they are walking into a trap designed to teach them a lesson they will never forget." Laura's voice came over the comms. "Captain, the Tirac scouts are deploying across the planet. They believe the cities are empty. We have multiple points to strike if needed. They will not know what hits them." Hale smiled slightly. "Good, keep observing. Let them overextend. Let them think they are in control. Humans will win, not by strength alone, but by intelligence and adaptation." The first Tirac soldiers reported back that they had found nothing. Kor's voice was firm. "Increase the search radius. They must be here somewhere. Humans cannot disappear entirely. Use all sensors. Leave nothing unchecked." Back on the Resolute, Laura and Eli studied the incoming reports. The humans had been preparing for this for decades. Every abandoned colony, every quiet city, every empty street was part of a plan. The Tirac did not see it. They could not see it. Humans had learned to hide, to observe, and to strike when the time was right. Eli looked at the display showing dozens of Tirak landing teams. Captain, they are moving into the central sector. They will converge soon. Should we initiate the countermeasures? Laura shook her head. Not yet. We wait, watch, learn. Their arrogance will guide them to the right positions for us. On Arden, Tirak soldiers moved through the abandoned cities, unaware of the hidden drones and turrets. They reported every detail to Admiral Kor. He believed their reports confirmed the planet's emptiness. Perfect, he said. We will have no resistance here. Prepare for full occupation. But the humans had already noted every Tirak movement. They had studied the soldiers' routines, the fleet's communications, and every pattern in their behavior. The human networks adapted in real time, preparing multiple scenarios for when the Tirak finally attacked. In orbit, the Resolute remained hidden. Its cloaking systems were perfect. No Tirak sensor could detect it. Laura watched the Tirak landing teams as they moved confidently through the cities. Every mistake they make is recorded, she said. Every move is noted. When the time comes, we will strike in ways they cannot predict. On the Tirak flagship, Kor continued to underestimate the humans. They are weak, he said to his officers. No empire has resisted the Tirak. They will fail, as all others have. Our conquest is assured. Meanwhile, on the human station, Hale continued to plan. Patience is our weapon, he said quietly. Let them expose themselves. Let them reveal their strategies, their weaknesses. Then we act, and we never repeat ourselves. As the Tirak soldiers spread across the planet, they did not notice the subtle changes in the environment. Sensors in buildings monitored their every step. Hidden turrets adjusted their aim automatically, tracking patterns and movements. Mines were ready to trigger in response to pressure and weight. The Tirak had no idea that they were walking into a living learning system designed to adapt to every strike they made. Eli watched the simulations on the Resolute. Captain, their formation patterns are clear. If we strike now, we can disrupt them entirely. Laura shook her head. Not yet. Timing is everything. They will move into the central sector soon. That is when we act. They will never know what hit them. Kor's voice came over the communications again. All teams report. The planet is under our control. They are hiding. It is only a matter of time before they surrender. Laura remained silent. Patience, she whispered. Humans never repeat themselves. We wait for the right moment. Across human space, other systems were also monitoring the Tirak. Satellites, drones, and listening stations recorded everything. Humans learned from the past, and their past was full of mistakes turned into strategies. Every battle they had fought before had taught them something new. Every loss had become a lesson. The Tirak, confident and arrogant, believed in their strength. They had conquered worlds before. They had destroyed empires. They believed humanity would fall in the same way. But humans were not like other species. Humans did not fight the same fight twice. They adapted. They evolved. They used memory as a weapon and intelligence as armor. As the Tirak fleet moved closer to the center of human space, Hale made his decision. We will strike when they least expect it, he said. We will fight in ways they cannot predict. And when it is over, they will remember the humans and never underestimate us again. Laura nodded. The Tirak believe they are in control, she said. They do not know that we have already learned everything about them. They are walking into a trap they cannot see. And in the silence of space, the humans waited, watching, learning, and preparing. The Tirak would not know what hit them. They would not see the patterns, the strategy, or the plan. They would only face the result, a force that adapted, learned, and never repeated the same mistake twice. The edge of human space was no longer empty. It was alive with hidden weapons, silent observers, and a plan centuries in the making. And the Tirak, arrogant and confident, were moving straight into it. For humans, this was just the beginning. They would show the Tirak the price of underestimating a species that never repeated itself. The Tirak soldiers on Arden moved through the empty cities with slow confidence. They checked every building, scanned every street, and reported back to Admiral Kor. No life signs, one officer said. No resistance. It appears they have abandoned the planet. Kor's voice carried over the comms. Good, continue the sweep. They cannot hide forever. Every species we have conquered has failed to resist. Humans will be no different. The Tirak believed that silence meant fear. They had faced other species who had fled or surrendered, and they expected the same from humans. But the humans were not like other species. Humans were watching, learning, and waiting. In orbit, the Resolute remained hidden, invisible to the Tirac sensors. Captain Laura Kent and her crew observed every movement on the planet. Their arrogance blinds them, she said. They believe the cities are empty. They will soon learn that appearances are never the truth. Eli Grant leaned over the console. Captain, our drones are tracking their patrols. Every movement, every step, every scan is being recorded. We can predict their mistakes before they even realize them. Laura nodded. Yes, let them reveal themselves. Humans do not strike first unless it is the right moment. Patience is our greatest weapon. On Arden, the Tirac soldiers reported strange signals, small disruptions in their sensors, odd readings in areas that should be empty. Kor dismissed them. Sensor errors, he said. The humans are weak. They cannot hide from the Tirac. Continue with the sweep. But the humans were not weak. The disruptions were deliberate. Hidden drones and automated systems were gathering information, observing the Tirac fleet and preparing adaptive countermeasures. Every small error made by the Tirac soldiers was noted. Every pattern they repeated was recorded and analyzed. Eli watched the live feed from the drones. Captain, they are moving into the central sector. This is where they will converge. It is perfect timing for our next phase. Laura studied the display. Good. The Tirac do not understand yet that they are being guided into a trap. They cannot see it. They cannot sense it, and that is why they will fail. On the Tirac flagship, Kor was growing impatient. Where are the humans? He demanded. They cannot be hiding forever. They must surrender soon. Prepare the landing squads for full deployment. Sweep the planet entirely. The Tirac soldiers continued their patrols, unaware that every step they took was being watched. Sensors hidden in rubble, drones in abandoned buildings, and silent satellites in orbit gathered every detail. The humans had prepared for this. Every city, every street, every abandoned vehicle was part of a larger plan. Captain Laura turned to Eli. They believe they control the battlefield. They do not. We control it in ways they cannot see or understand. Humans do not fight the same war twice. They will learn this too late. Back on the Tirac planet surface, the first small incidents occurred. Soldiers reported strange electrical disturbances, sudden malfunctions in their weapons, and unexpected failures in their scanners. Kor was still confident. Minor errors, he said. Systems fail sometimes. We continue the mission. There is no human threat strong enough to challenge the Tirac, but the humans were ready. Every failure the Tirac experienced was part of a controlled test. The adaptive networks monitored responses, recorded patterns, and adjusted countermeasures. Every attempt to correct the errors was tracked, studied, and prepared for in the next stage. In orbit, Hale watched the entire operation. They are beginning to sense that something is wrong, he said to his officers. They are noticing anomalies. That is good. They will act on them, and when they do, we will be ready. Every action they take will lead them deeper into our plan. Laura activated another set of drones, sending them closer to the Tirac landing teams. Eli, keep tracking their reactions. Note how they adjust. Every pattern they show is information we can use. They do not realize that every move they make is a lesson for us. Eli's fingers moved quickly over the controls. Captain, they are grouping together. They are moving toward the northern sector. It is exactly where we wanted them. Laura smiled faintly. Perfect. Let them move. The more they advance, the more they expose themselves. Humans never repeat mistakes. We will not make one now. On Arden, the Tirac soldiers began to experience confusion. Some sensors failed entirely. Some weapon systems misfired. Communications were disrupted intermittently. Kor's patience began to show cracks. Report, he demanded. What is causing these problems? Unknown, one officer replied nervously. We have no explanation, Admiral. Systems malfunctioning. Sensors unreliable. Kor's voice grew sharper. Continue the sweep. Nothing can stop the Tirac. Humans are weak. They cannot fight. They cannot survive. We will find them and destroy them. But the humans had anticipated this reaction. Every predictable pattern Kor relied upon was exploited. The humans did not act impulsively. They did not attack without planning. They waited, adapted, and prepared. Laura monitored the Tirac as they moved through the northern sector. Eli, record every change in their formation. Note how they react to failures. Humans never fight the same war twice. We learn from every move. This is how we will win. Eli looked at her. Captain, they are starting to panic. They do not understand that these are tests, not attacks. They believe they are being challenged. Laura nodded. Exactly. Let them panic. Panic leads to mistakes, and mistakes lead them straight into our trap. On the Tirac flagship, Core was growing frustrated. Sensors failing, weapons malfunctioning, soldiers confused. This is impossible. We are the Tirac. Nothing should stop us. His officers tried to reassure him, but Core could feel doubt creeping into his mind. For the first time, he sensed that perhaps he had underestimated this species. Perhaps humans were not as weak as he had assumed. But he refused to admit it. Arrogance was the Tirac way. He clung to it, even as the signs of failure increased. Meanwhile, human drones moved silently through the northern sector. They monitored every Tirac soldier, recorded every system, and transmitted the data back to the Resolute. Automated turrets in abandoned buildings adjusted their aim. Targeting patterns analyzed in real time. Every misstep by the Tirac made the human systems more accurate. Every reaction, every hesitation, every repeated action was stored and used to plan the next countermeasure. Laura watched silently. They think they are in control. They are not. Humans never repeat mistakes. That is why we will win. Eli looked at the display. Captain, their ships are beginning to reposition. They are grouping in response to the anomalies. This is good. They are falling into the areas we predicted. They cannot see it, but they are moving exactly where we need them. Laura smiled faintly. Perfect. Continue monitoring. Do not engage yet. Let them gather more data themselves. Let them reveal every weakness. Then we strike, and they will not know how it happened. Back on the surface, the Tirac soldiers reported new malfunctions. Admiral, some of our sensors have stopped working entirely. Weapon systems are failing intermittently. Communications are unreliable. Core's voice cracked slightly. Continue. We cannot let humans show weakness. We are the Tirac. No one can stop us. But the humans had already turned every failure into an advantage. Every misstep was noted, every reaction recorded, every pattern studied. The Tirac were learning nothing, but the humans were learning everything. On the Resolute, Laura and Eli continued their work. Every move they make, Laura said, is a lesson. Every mistake they reveal is an opportunity. Humans never repeat themselves, Eli. That is why we survive. That is why we will win. Eli nodded, understanding fully now the patience and precision required. Captain, their northern sector units are completely disorganized. They are panicking. Should we begin the counterstrike? Laura shook her head. Not yet. We wait for them to converge fully. The more they move, the more data we have. Then we act decisively. Timing is everything. They will not see it coming. In orbit, Hale watched the Tirac fleet carefully. They are beginning to realize something is wrong, he said to his officers. Good, let them try to adapt. Let them act impulsively. Every wrong move they make strengthens our advantage. Humans do not repeat mistakes. They never have and they never will. As the Tirac soldiers moved deeper into the northern sector, the first signs of real trouble appeared. Small explosions in empty streets, sudden system failures, and unexplained sensor blips made the soldiers nervous. Core tried to maintain control, but frustration and fear were creeping in. Laura watched quietly from the Resolute. They believe the anomalies are random, she said. They do not understand that everything is calculated, controlled, and observed. They will continue to make mistakes, and when the time comes, they will face the consequences of their arrogance. Eli glanced at the display. Captain, the Tirac are finally showing real signs of panic. They are moving toward the central sector faster than expected. Laura nodded. Good, let them. The trap is ready. Humans never repeat mistakes, Eli. And that is why they will not see this coming. In the silence of Arden, hidden human systems prepared for the next stage. Turrets adjusted, drones moved into key positions, and satellites tracked every Tirac move. Every soldier, every ship, every communication was being observed. Humans were ready. They had waited patiently, watched carefully, and learned everything the Tirac had revealed. The Tirac fleet had entered the central sector of Arden, believing they were finally in control. Their soldiers moved confidently through empty streets, their ships scanning the skies for hidden threats. Admiral Core stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the reports. They cannot hide forever, he said. Humans are weak. They will surrender soon. Prepare for full deployment, but the humans were ready. Every move the Tirac made had been anticipated. Every step taken by their soldiers had been studied and recorded. Hidden drones watched silently, and automated turrets adjusted their aim in real time. Every weapon system the Tirac tested was countered with precision. Captain Laura Kent stood on the bridge of the Resolute, watching the Tirac fleet. "They think they are in control," she said. "They believe victory is theirs, but they are walking into the trap. Humans never repeat mistakes, and now they will learn why." Eli Grant monitored the data from the drones. "Captain, they are converging toward the central sector exactly as planned. We can strike any point and every move will be unpredictable to them." Laura nodded. "Good. Begin the counterstrike, but carefully. Every attack must be different. Every pattern must be unique. They cannot anticipate us." On Arden, the first explosions occurred without warning. Turrets hidden in abandoned buildings fired silently. Small, precise blasts disabled Tirac vehicles, destroyed equipment, and disrupted communications. Soldiers ran in confusion, unable to understand where the attacks came from. Kor's voice cracked over the communications. "Report, what is happening? Why are our systems failing? Why are our soldiers disabled?" One officer responded nervously. "Admiral, we do not know. Weapons malfunctioning, sensors failing, everything is chaotic." Kor slammed his fist on the console. "Impossible. Humans cannot be this prepared. We are the Tirac. We are the strongest in the sector." But the humans had already studied their arrogance. Every failure, every hesitation, every repeated action by the Tirac had been turned into an advantage. The humans had prepared multiple layers of defense, each adaptive, each unpredictable, each deadly. Laura's voice came over the comms to her crew. "Eli, track every Tirac reaction. Note their patterns. Adjust the countermeasures. Every time they try to recover, we are ready." Eli's fingers moved quickly. "Captain, the Tirac are trying to regroup. They are moving into clusters. Their soldiers are panicking." Laura nodded. "Exactly. Let them group. Let them think they can recover. But we control the battlefield now. Humans never repeat mistakes. Every action they take is predictable to us, but unpredictable to them." The Tirac fleet attempted to fire on the hidden human ships. Beams of energy cut through space, striking where they believed enemy ships were. But the humans had moved. Cloaking systems, decoy transmissions, and unpredictable movement patterns made every attack miss. Tirac energy beams struck empty space or harmless debris. Kor's face turned red with anger. "They are hiding." "They cannot hide. Increase firepower. Destroy them." "Admiral," one officer said nervously. "We cannot find them. Every time we target a ship, it moves. It is unpredictable." Kor's hands trembled slightly. "Impossible. Humans cannot fight like this. They cannot." On the Resolute, Laura watched the Tirac fleet's confusion. "Eli, activate the second wave. Target their clusters. Be unpredictable. Change every pattern. They cannot adapt fast enough." Eli did as instructed. Small ships uncloaked and fired in angles the Tirac could not predict. Explosions lit up space, tearing through their formations. Tirac ships attempted evasive maneuvers, but the humans anticipated them, striking in unexpected directions. On the surface of Arden, the Tirac soldiers ran through burning streets. Turrets and drones struck from hidden positions, always changing, never repeating the same pattern. Soldiers tried to regroup, but every movement was anticipated and countered. Kor's voice rose in panic. How are they doing this? They are not using the same attack twice. Every strike is different." "Admiral," an officer said, "they are adapting. Every time we react, they change. It is impossible to follow." Laura leaned back slightly. "Humans never repeat mistakes," she said softly. "That is why they cannot win against us. And that is why they will never predict our strikes." Eli monitored the drone's feed. "Captain, half their fleet is disabled. Several soldiers have been taken out, and their vehicles are destroyed. They are trying to retreat, but every route is covered. We control the battlefield completely." Kor realized the situation was slipping away. "Fall back," he shouted. "Retreat immediately!" But it was too late. The humans had anticipated the retreat. Small human ships struck from unexpected angles, cutting off escape routes. Drones moved in coordination with orbital weapons, creating deadly zones the Tirac could not escape. Every attempt to flee ended in disaster. On the bridge of the Resolute, Laura observed the chaos. "They believed they could conquer us quickly," she said. "They thought humans would be weak. They thought humans would repeat the same mistakes as every other species. They were wrong. Eli glanced at the display. Captain, their flagship is exposed. If we strike now, we can end this battle decisively. Laura nodded. Do it, but make it unpredictable. Every move different from the last. They will not see it coming. The human ships attacked. Energy beams struck from multiple directions, constantly changing paths. The Tirac flagship fired back, but it was too slow to adapt. Explosions tore through their hull, systems failed, and alarms screamed across the bridge. Kor tried to issue orders, but every command was countered before it could take effect. His soldiers panicked, his fleet broke apart, and his confidence collapsed. For the first time, he understood the humans' power. On the surface, Tirac soldiers ran in confusion. Explosions erupted around them, drones and turrets striking unpredictably. Communications were disrupted, reinforcements blocked, and every path they tried to escape was covered. Laura watched silently. Humans never repeat mistakes, she said. Every action they take is unique, every strike calculated, every reaction different. That is why they cannot lose. Kor's flagship exploded in a bright flash of light. The remaining Tirac ships attempted to flee, but the humans had already predicted their escape paths. Small ships and drones intercepted them. Explosions tore through engines, leaving drifting hulks in space. Eli whispered, "Captain, it is over. They cannot escape." Laura nodded, her face calm but tired. "No, Eli, it is over for them. But we must remain vigilant. Other fleets may come and we will prepare. Humans never repeat mistakes, and we will never be caught unprepared again." Across Arden and the surrounding space, the remaining Tirac ships limped away, carrying the news of defeat. The humans had proven their strength, intelligence, and adaptability. They had fought differently, unpredictably, and decisively. Admiral Hale addressed the crew over comms. They believed they could control us. They believed humans were weak. They were wrong. This is the lesson the Tirac will carry back to their empire. Humans never fight the same war twice. They never repeat mistakes, and they adapt to survive. Laura looked out into space, watching the few Tirac survivors retreat. "They will tell others," she said softly. "And when they do, humanity will be remembered. Not as weak, but as a force that cannot be predicted. A species that cannot be defeated by arrogance alone." Eli smiled faintly. "Captain, do you think they will ever return?" Laura shook her head. "Perhaps. But if they do, we will be ready. Humans never repeat mistakes, Eli. That is why we survive. That is why we will always endure." In the silence of Arden's orbit, human ships regrouped. The battlefield was quiet again. The drones returned to hidden positions, the turrets powered down, and the Resolute drifted among the stars, invisible, watching, and ready. The Tirac had learned their first lesson in human space. They had underestimated a species that adapted, learned, and never repeated mistakes. And the humans had proven, without a single moment of reckless action, that patience, intelligence, and unpredictability could overcome even the mightiest empire. For Captain Laura, Eli, and Admiral Hale, the battle was just the beginning. Humanity would continue to grow stronger, prepare for the next threat, and always fight in ways no enemy could predict. And for the Tirac, the lesson was clear. No empire, no matter how confident, could conquer a species that never fought the same war twice. The Tirac survivors fled through space, broken and demoralized. Their fleet had been shattered, their flagship destroyed, and their soldiers scattered. Admiral Kor stared at the damage reports, his pride in ruins. He could not understand how a species he had considered weak had defeated him so completely. On the surface of Arden, Captain Laura Kent and her crew watched the last Tirac ships retreat. The planet was quiet once more, but the silence was not fear. It was vigilance. Humans had won this battle, but they had learned that victory required preparation and patience. Eli Grant looked at the retreating fleet. "Captain, they're gone." "For now," Laura nodded. "Yes, Eli, but they will tell others what happened here. They will return with more forces. And when they do, we will be ready. Humans never repeat mistakes." In orbit, the Resolute sent signals back to Vigil, where Admiral Carter Hale received the reports. He listened carefully, absorbing every detail. "They believed they could conquer us with arrogance and strength," he said. "But humans are different. They adapt, they learn, and they never repeat the same mistakes." The humans had struck decisively and unpredictably. The Tirak had assumed patterns in human defense, but every attack, every response, every countermeasure was unique. They had not fought humans before, and they had never seen a species that could study and adapt so quickly. On Arden, the city ruins smoked from the fires of battle. Streets were scarred and buildings were damaged, but no human had been seriously harmed. The hidden turrets and drones had protected the civilians and soldiers alike. Humans had fought strategically, striking with precision and withdrawing before the enemy could react. Laura and Eli walked among the rubble, inspecting the battlefield. "They will tell others about this," Eli said quietly. "Do you think they will try again?" Laura shook her head. "Maybe, but humans will be ready. They will learn from every encounter. Every attack they make, every mistake they reveal, will be a lesson for us. That is why we survive, Eli. That is why we will always endure." Back on the Tirak flagship, Kor addressed the few remaining officers. His voice was bitter and low. "We underestimated them. Humans are not like any other species. They learn from everything, and they never repeat mistakes. That is why we failed. That is why we will retreat and reconsider. They are dangerous. More dangerous than I imagined." One officer asked nervously, "Admiral, what do we do now?" Kor's eyes burned with anger. "We retreat. We rebuild. But we will not forget this. Humans are a species to respect and fear. Next time, we will not underestimate them." In the aftermath, the human networks on Arden and across surrounding colonies began repair and recovery. Systems were checked, drones maintained, and hidden turrets recalibrated. Nothing was wasted. Every lesson from the battle was recorded. Every flaw and success became part of the human archive. On the bridge of the Resolute, Laura Kent reviewed the battle. "Eli, make sure every report is sent to Central Command. They need to understand how we won and why. Every detail counts. Humans never repeat mistakes, and our record of this battle must be perfect." Eli nodded, typing rapidly. "Captain, I've never seen the Tirak panic like this." They were completely unprepared. Their arrogance destroyed them. Laura's eyes were calm. "Yes, Eli, arrogance is a weakness, but they will learn and they will return. That is why we must always adapt. Humans survive because we learn and change. That is our strength." In human space, the news of the battle spread quickly. Colonies that had feared the Tirak now celebrated the victory. They had seen the proof. Humans could fight with intelligence, patience, and adaptability. The message was clear across the sector. Humanity could not be underestimated. Admiral Hale addressed his command staff. "This battle has shown the galaxy something important," he said. "Other species may think humans are weak, that we are slow or disorganized. They are wrong. We have survived because we adapt. We have survived because we learn. And we will survive any threat because we never repeat mistakes." On Arden, civilians began to emerge from hiding. They helped repair damage, collected supplies, and assisted in restoring order. Humans worked together with precision, moving efficiently, rebuilding what the Tirak had destroyed. There was no panic, no chaos, only organized effort. Laura watched quietly from the Resolute. "Every human action after this battle will reinforce what they learned about us," she said. "We protect each other. We learn from mistakes. And we adapt faster than any enemy can anticipate." Eli looked around at the recovering planet. "Captain, do you think the Tirak will come back?" Laura's voice was firm. "They might. But when they do, we will be stronger, smarter, and more prepared. Every mistake they made this time will be a lesson for us. And because humans never repeat mistakes, we will always be ready for them." In deep space, the surviving Tirak ships carried the news of their defeat back to the Empire. Kor's report was filled with warnings. Humans were not weak, humans were unpredictable, and humans learned from every encounter. Every detail of the battle was analyzed by the Tirak High Council. They could not understand how a species so small and seemingly fragile had destroyed their fleet, with precision and minimal loss. Meanwhile, humans began to spread information among themselves. Colonies shared experiences, strategies, and observations. The battle had not just been a victory. It had been a lesson in adaptability, coordination, and intelligence. The human network grew stronger, more connected, and more prepared for the future. Captain Laura Kent stood alone on the bridge of the Resolute, gazing at the stars. "This is only the beginning," she said quietly. "The Tirak may return and other species may challenge us. But humanity has something they will never understand. We do not fight the same war twice. We learn, we adapt, and we survive. That is our power. Eli joined her, looking at the stars with quiet awe. It's incredible, Captain. They thought they could conquer us, but they didn't understand humans at all. Laura nodded. No species ever really does, Eli. Humans are not predictable. We change, we adapt, and we never make the same mistake twice. That is why we endure. That is why we survive. And that is why we will always fight smarter than anyone who underestimates us. On Arden, life slowly returned to normal. Streets were repaired, supplies distributed, and civilians resumed their routines. Human soldiers remained vigilant, knowing the Tirak might return but confident in their preparation. Every person knew that survival depended on intelligence, adaptation, and learning. Every action taken reinforced the lessons from the battle. Across human space, other colonies began to implement new strategies, technologies, and defenses based on the events on Arden. Humans shared knowledge freely, creating a connected network of prepared systems. They learned from every encounter, and they adapted faster than any enemy could predict. In the distant stars, the Tirak regrouped. Kor and the surviving officers studied the human strategy, trying to find weaknesses, but humans had none to reveal. Every reaction, every defense, every countermeasure had been unique, unpredictable, and adaptive. The Tirak could not find a pattern because humans did not repeat themselves. Back on Arden, Laura Kent and her crew prepared for the future. Ships were repaired, systems recalibrated, and training resumed. The Resolute remained hidden in orbit, ready to respond to any threat. Humans were always vigilant, they were always ready, and they never repeated mistakes. Eli looked at the stars, his eyes wide. Captain, they'll think twice before returning. Humanity is too unpredictable. Laura smiled faintly. Yes, Eli, they will. And every species that underestimates us will learn the same lesson. We do not fight like others. We do not repeat mistakes. That is the power of humanity. That is why we survive. That is why we endure. In the quiet of space, the Tirak Empire reeled from the defeat, learning that arrogance alone could not overcome intelligence and adaptability. Humans had proven themselves not just strong, but unpredictable, patient, and endlessly resourceful. The galaxy had witnessed a new truth. Humanity was a species to respect, to fear, and to never underestimate. On Arden, Captain Laura Kent stood with her crew watching the stars. The Tirak may return, she said. Other threats will come, but humanity will endure, adapt, and fight smarter than anyone who thinks they can defeat us. We never repeat mistakes, Eli, and that is why we will always survive. Eli nodded, understanding the weight of her words. Humans will never be predictable, he said quietly, and no enemy can ever fully defeat us. Laura looked out into the darkness of space, calm and determined. Exactly, Eli, we are humans. We adapt, we learn, we survive. And the universe will never forget it. The stars glimmered above Arden, silent witnesses to the victory of a species that refused to be defeated, a species that never repeated mistakes, a species that had crossed the threshold of human space, and had discovered too late that humans were unlike any enemy they had ever faced. And far beyond, the Tirak would carry the lesson back to their empire. Humanity could not be conquered by arrogance, by force, or by repetition. Humanity adapted. Humanity learned. Humanity endured. The galaxy had seen the beginning of a new era, where humans were not just survivors. They were masters of unpredictability, intelligence, and adaptation. And the universe would never forget it.